Hey everyone, you know who I am, okay? So this is the answers video to the questions that were actually posted to my video a couple days ago. I got some good questions, so I'm going to respond to them. I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. So let's jump right into it for the sake of time. Jeff Burnham, great question, and I like the way that you actually introduced this. You said all races, colors, and religions need to unite, putting aside their differences in order to resist the scourge of Islam and enlighten people about its dangers to our civilization. What is the best way to go about this? Well, just for the record, I want to say it has to be done with love, first of all, nonviolence. Second of all, get rid of the maliciousness in your heart. I want Muslims to be set free from the death grip of Islam so they can understand and experience what true freedom living is all about. So now, as I said previously in one of my other videos, go straight for the gusto. When you are given the opportunity to expose Islam. Do not become pessimistic, okay? Do not all of a sudden just get a bleeding heart out of the blue and say, well, I care about this person's feelings. If you really truly care about a person, you would tell them the truth, even if it hurts. Truth that hurts has never killed anyone. It has always made a person better. Go straight to the hadiths. Make sure that the hadiths that you use are scholarly and that they are accepted by the masses. So we're talking about Sahih Bukhari, the Tabari, and Sahih Muslim. So those are the most three authoritative hadiths that actually are the true interpretations of the Quran. And what really does trip me out is that they actually say, well, we reject hadiths. You can't reject hadiths. You're supposed to accept the hadiths as well. You cannot pick and choose. You have the Quran and you actually have the hadiths. But you have some Muslims who are actually trying to spin this web of deception around you, and they say that the hadiths are all lies, and then they want to try to twist and distort the true sayings of the Quran. And if you have to, pull out a Quran on them. Pull out a Quran on them. And hadiths, whatever, and etc. Go tangible. Present what is actually in their books, so people will know that there's no way you are misinterpreting what is actually said in their books. But make sure you do it with love, and it's always peaceful when you are exposing Islam. I don't mind you having passion or whatever, that's fine, but just make sure that you're doing it with love and that you're also peaceful about it. Also, Rob Stratton, I just want to say for the record, Britain First, big fan of them. Tommy Robinson, big fan of them. I've been a big fan of Britain First ever since they came out. And also Tony Robinson when he was with the EDL. Big fan of the EDL. Not now, though, because the EDL has actually been infiltrated by skinheads, Nazis, etc., and that's not what Tony Robinson intended the EDL to be used for. So I'm pretty sure you know the story with the EDL, okay? I believe with you being from England, Rob. And Rob, thank you for the question. But also, this is a really tough question that you actually did pose after your other comment. You said you are from England, and today there is a march for Chelsea in Sunderland. Chelsea is a girl, which I know about that, who was gang raped by refugees, and the police brought no charges. This is becoming such a problem in the UK with Muslims grooming and rape gangs up and down the country and all over Europe. My question is, do you think that love and forgiveness is the answer to this problem, as the tensions in the UK are reaching a very dangerous level? Thanks. Rob, this is very complex. This is very complex in nature, okay? Let me just tell you this. I do not believe in being passive. Rape is something that cannot be ignored, because here's the thing, we don't have to even put ourselves in the person's shoes. We already understand that objectively rape is just wrong. But in the culture that with these immigrants are coming from, it's fine because these are non-Muslim women. So how do you actually go about this? Tony Robinson is doing the right thing. He is raising awareness. Yes, forgive the person, because you might not like this, Rob. Forgiveness is not for that person. It is for you. It makes you a stronger, better person. Trust me, Rob. I am from the streets of Chicago, Illinois, and also the streets of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I've ran these streets for a long time. Trust me, I know about forgiving a person when you feel that you have the right and it's justifiable for you to hold on to unforgiveness, but it is for you, not that person. Yes, love conquers all. Now, what I mean by this love, a lot of people want to just give you this one view or one side of the spectrum about love. I believe that love is justice. I believe that love is mercy. I believe love is actually wrath. Love is punishment. So, with these people who are actually raping these young girls, I believe they have to be made an example of. And what do I mean by that? Life imprisonment. Have these people banished forever from your countries. There has to be consequences, especially for these heinous acts, because this is sinister. This is sick. And this cannot be tolerated. And I can't believe, to be honest with you, Rob, when I think about it, I'm so pissed off at England right now that they are changing their laws, and Canada is following suit, that England has already changed their laws, and that Canada is following suit. This is a slow Islamification of England, and unfortunately, I believe that the cap has been off the bottle for way too long. Now you guys are just overly saturated, and you're going to get on your knees and pray to God because you need a miracle for this to completely turn around. So, Rob, what I would just say, as a Christian to Christian, brother, okay, I know it's going to be really hard, but get on your knees and pray to God that you can forgive these men for what they have actually done to these women in your country. But also, you guys, you're going to have to unite there in England, and you guys are going to have to put pressure on your politicians, because you guys have to make this crystal clear to them that this will not be tolerated. You need and you want justice now, not later. Christ lives with a great brain teaser. Thanks, buddy. I needed that laugh. That was awesome. Okay, so Charizard. So what got you into debating Muslims? Enlightening them and challenging their beliefs. So I'm going to answer this question first. What got me into debating Muslims before 9/11, which 2001 was the day of my graduation. I mean, the year of my graduation. But anyway, before 9/11, 2001, I had a friend who was Islamic, and he was telling me about how great Islam actually is. And so I actually started doing some digging, and I noticed that what he was telling me and what his Quran was actually saying were completely two different things, and I couldn't reconcile both. So I actually broke off that friendship with him, and I started to do my own due diligence. Then when 9/11 actually happened, hey, that kind of I felt vindicated, and I kind of felt like that's just solidified everything. And it is just proof in the pudding that beyond a reasonable doubt that Islam is not the religion of peace. Even though I was being taught from my friend at the time, and then also in high school, not in high school yet. But and also from other friends too as well. They kept telling me that Islam is a religion of peace. I just had to do my due diligence, and I found that it wasn't. And after doing more studying after 9/11, and I went to this this chat forum called Pow Talk, and this is where I learned a lot more about Islam. And I was just like, wow, this is some sick, grotesque stuff. This is completely a death cult of rape and hate, intolerance and murder and stealing, systematic oppression, is tyrannical, etc., etc., etc. And when it finally dawned on me, look, someone has to say something, because they're telling me one thing and I'm reading a different thing. Someone has to stand up and debate these people. So I started to debate them. And to be honest with you, I'm not boasting. I give all praises to God. It's been a long time, actually, to be honest with you, when I was debating Muslims on Pow Talk. Actually, a few Muslims converted to Christianity just from me being patient with them. It took years for me being patient with them, and they converted to Christianity, and so love prevails. And so I wanted to enlighten them and challenge their beliefs, because I felt like they need each and every Muslim. Here's what I say, Charzar. Each and every Muslim deserves a chance to hear the gospel at least once, and even better, twice. And if they keep coming back, keep giving it to them, because they're supposed to come to the people of the book, right? So, also, how did I become enlightened by God and became born again? If I'm correct, was it a slow process? Yes, at the age of 13, that's when I accepted Christ, because I grew up in a family that was violent. I had a lot of physical, mental abuse. It was, gangs, there were drugs being sold, people being murdered. So that's the environment and the culture that I grew up in, that gang, straight hardcore street culture. That's what I grew up in. So at the age of 13, I was looking for anything else, and slowly God pulled me out of gangs, selling drugs, violence, etc., etc. I actually have my video testimony where I am 100% radically honest and 100% vulnerable, because I feel that the only person that can judge me is God. I don't judge myself. So let me know, Charzar, if you actually want to watch that video. I think you may have, though, but if you want to watch that video, just give me a shout out and just let me know, okay? And yes, it was a slow, grueling process. So, Alex, also known as NJ Bloodline. Hey, Christian, I was wondering, where are you from? What brought you to your faith in Christ? What are your thoughts on race relations in the USA? As someone who is mulatto, I've always felt like things were all right. It wasn't until recently, with groups like Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and the alt-right, that I started to notice a divide. I've had very little personal experience with racism in my life, and sort of thought it was a thing of the past. Any thoughts would be great. I understand if you can only respond to one of my questions. All the best to you, Christian. Thanks, Alex. Well, Alex, thank you very much, brother. This is what I like to talk about. I like to talk about social issues, okay? I believe that these topics that we are discussing, as far as politics, religion, race, I believe race definitely should be added as an archetype of life, because it influences your life, either you believe in it or not, right? But here's the thing, it's a social construct, right? It got started in the United States, so should we give it that much credence? Absolutely not. But yes, I have noticed the racial divide, especially since the Obama administration, okay? Obama was a racist. I don't care what anyone says. He said in that church with Jeremiah Wright that said, "Death to America." Obama was definitely a racist, because all of his actions supports my position if you actually look at his track record and from his administration. Now, with the Black Lives Matter, I have my first videos when I first got serious about being a YouTuber. You guys, they're about social issues, okay, such dealing with race. This was my favorite subject to talk about, is racial reconciliation and how the black culture needs a complete makeover. If the black culture was actually headed, if the trajectory of the black culture was headed in the right direction, we wouldn't have to have groups like Black Lives Matter that ignores 98% of the problem, but they address 2% of the problem. I am, as a black male, 98% more likely to be killed or assaulted by a black male. My subjective experience as a black American, I have experienced more racism from blacks than whites. There's no comparison whatsoever. It is completely shattered. There's no other side of the spectrum. I have experienced way more hate and intolerance and racism and bigotry from my own black people. But once again, here's the good thing. I am a free thinking black man. And if I can get rid of the social construct that I use to identify myself, I would just label myself as a Christian conservative American. But since we live in the United States, and just to make everything simplistic, how you are identified, yes, I must say that I am black. So, with the Black Lives Matter, you need to watch that video where it says that Black Lives Matter, no, all lives matter. You have to go to my previous videos and watch all those. The black culture needs a complete makeover. We need to start dealing with accountability. We have to make sure that black fathers are not being arrested, and that's by them actually conducting themselves, okay, in a dignified manner. We need to work on self-preservation. We have to get rid of the gangster rap. We have to get rid of this gangster culture that is completely inimical towards progression. It retards progression. We have to get rid of what is actually killing us. We have a regressive culture. And people have to deal with their own issues and get rid of this entitlement complex and playing the victim card and also the race card. Oh my God, everything is racially polarized when it comes to liberals. First of all, we have to get people off the mental plantation. First, it was majority of the blacks. Now it basically just has spread it out and it started to metastasize. So it's all over the United States. Now it's spreading all over the world. Everyone thinks that the white man is the enemy. The white man is the cause of your problems. You don't have to accept responsibility for your actions. There's double standards that actually stem from this, and this is liberal thinking 101. And then they are also known to be historical revisionists. They want to rewrite history. They don't tell the truth about the start of the Republican Party, how many blacks were actually active in the Republican Party at its start. They don't talk about that stuff. So we need to have facts. And then we also need to be open to dialogue and racial reconciliation, which, to be honest with you, we need to start telling the truth. Race is not a huge problem in the United States. Liberals make it out to be. But that's not the truth. We have to remember that the Black Lives Matter was actually started on a false narrative. Now we have groups like Antifa. And then we have people labeling conservatives to be the alt-right and we're the fascists. That's not true. That is not true. We need to get back to our United States Constitution, and we need to get back to what is actually important. And what's important is a person being respected or judged by the content of their character, and their race has no bearing whatsoever, especially when it comes to politics. So, with you being mulatto, you're getting the best of both worlds, but unfortunately, you're getting the worst of both worlds. But let me tell you something. Do not take that in. Do not internalize it. Do not personalize it, because you are your own person. You are your own individual. You think for yourself. We have to shatter the mental plantation that a lot of blacks and now minorities are on, and it is becoming systemic. It really is. So, Gloria Stanley, how long have you been a Christian? Well, I'm 34 now, and I accepted Christ when I was 13. And have you had a college degree in Christianity? Well, right now, I am studying to become an ordained minister. I have 2 months left before I graduate. And I think it's going to be awesome. So, attaining a degree in theology and to be an ordained minister would be absolutely phenomenal. And yes, I actually do study the Bible. I live in a Christian saturated environment where it is Jesus Christ all day, every day. I study Christ. I read Christ. I think Christ. I eat. I sleep Christ. I practice Christ. It's just awesome. I have grown so much. So much. So, guys, this is Christian Deron. Thank you guys so much for the Q&A. And sorry that it is so long, but I'm proud to be here. And as I say in my other videos, I am your humble servant. I am about exposing inimical ideologies and exposing evil, and then also planting the seeds of truth in the person's soul, which is Christianity. So until next time, you guys, God bless you and have a great night. Bye-bye.